Hey guys, I'm trying a new style of video where I read comments before and after the update. Let me know if I should make this a permanent change. Now, am I the idiot for buying my daughter a locked storage bin since I don't trust our family? I, male 53, have a daughter, female 17, who I recently bought this big storage container for. The reason being our daughter has a job and likes buying her own food and snacks for herself. The problem is that her mom invites her aunt, uncle and cousins over all the time, and even since she started buying her snacks and leaving them in the pantry, they'd eat them without consulting her. She's asked them many times to not eat them, but they don't listen. For reference, she likes to order snacks from other countries as a way to broaden her horizons. She's also linguistically gifted and likes to try and read labels to help expand her vocabulary. These snacks can take weeks to get after she orders them again, and by then her current snacks are gone. My wife didn't do anything, saying that since our daughter kept them in the pantry there for everyone, she moved them to her room and her cousins would go in when she wasn't and take them. I went to a hardware store and bought a big container with a lock, and for extra measure I bought extra locks and drilled holes so that they could be used. Our daughter cried and thanked me because it was pretty expensive and not something she could afford. Of course, the cousins went to get more snacks and threw a fit when they saw it and realized the snacks were in there. They told their parents and they told my wife, and she's not happy with me, saying that our daughter should share her snacks with family and she's being selfish and will get fat. Our daughter is incredibly fit, does multiple sports and exercises all the time. She's far from unhealthy. I told my wife she could order her own, and our daughter was happy to tell her where to order them, but she didn't like that either and told her that the chest needs to go and that I should have consulted her on buying the bin in the first place. Am I the idiot? Edit. The relatives are our daughter's cousins and aunt and uncle. They are my sister-in-law, brother-in-law and nephews, and sister-in-law is my wife's sister. To clear up any confusion, the pantry I also fully stocked with food. No one is going hungry and eating our daughter's snacks because they have to. Comments before the update. Not the idiot. You did the right thing. Your wife is well out of line. How dare she take your daughter's things? Your daughter works for these treats. Your wife has no right to steal them, and has no right to advocate her other family members steal them. Also, the fat remark. Just, ugh, not the idiot. But I would take it a step further and get a deadbolt lock for her room to lock it when she isn't there. That way the cousins can't get into her room and we'll have something else to complain about. Now for the update. My daughter and my brother-in-law both found my Reddit post separately. First, my daughter, who was sent it by a friend who knew the situation. She confronted me about it and we had a very long talk where she admitted that when I'm away her mom doesn't treat her well, and often puts her cousins, my nephews, above her, telling her she should be understanding we're far better off than them. I was aware that they would occasionally sneak into her room to take things or play, but apparently they go so far as to wait for her to leave for a few minutes, run in and grab what they want. Her mom also makes a lot of comments about her weight. For reference, our daughter takes after me, being taller with some more masculine features such as broader shoulders, while my wife is small and petite. There's many other things I won't say here that my wife has said to our daughter. I didn't bring it up at first and consulted my wife on buying a lock for our daughter's door, which she opposed, even if our daughter said she'd buy it with her own money. She started yelling about how under her roof our daughter has to abide by her rules. The house is technically mine, not hers. She stormed off and immediately began telling all our friends and her sister and brother-in-law that I was being controlling and awful to her. The brother-in-law found the first post and sent it to her, leading to another argument where she accused me of airing our dirty laundry to the world instead of trying to communicate, despite me trying to and getting shut down. Once she stormed off, I packed a bag, as did my daughter, and we went to a hotel. Yes, we brought the snack bin, where we have been the past few days while I find a good divorce lawyer. My wife is still spreading lies about me, claiming I tried to kick her out, and all sorts of other lies. I'm finished with her. I don't care what she says. I'll be divorcing her and paying as much alimony as she wants so that I can keep my daughter safe from her. I don't care about the house, or anything else. She can keep it all and let her sister, brother-in-law and nephews mooch off her until she's penniless. I'm sorry, this is not a happy update and I doubt I will make one after this. Thank you for opening my eyes, Reddit. Edit. After so many people have told me not to give up the house, I will be doing my best to fight for it and low alimony for my wife. Me and my daughter shouldn't have had to leave the house we've both grown up in because of my wife. She can live with her sister if she wants to help them so much. Not the idiot. You are an amazing parent. Your wife is toxic. But don't give up without a fight. You are providing for your daughter. The house is yours as your daughter will live with you. Your wife doesn't deserve to have your daughter call her mom. Not the idiot. It's your house. With your daughter to testify with how her own mother treats her, no judge is going to award her the house. Get the divorce attorney and document everything your wife is saying. Also, you may be able to use your Reddit post to back up your claims of how unhinged your wife is. Do you think the mom is nuts? Let me know in the comments. Would I be an idiot for suing my DIL? Our son and DIL, 26 have been together for 2 years and live together. We've always thought she's a very nice girl and she seems to make my son happy, so no problem from us. Our son has his own law firm that he's currently trying to get started. We're very proud of him, and we're fortunate enough to help him with a startup loan. DIL works a retail job that she's very happy with. Some time ago my husband and I were over at their apartment and we decided to order some food. Husband and I wanted to pay, and since DIL was ordering from her phone, we gave her our card so she could draw the money from our account. We thought it goes without saying this was to draw an amount once, for lunch. However, DIL apparently put our card into her Apple Pay, and have been using it since. We didn't notice for some months but recently saw withdrawals we didn't recognize. We had our accountant look into it, and he discovered that one. DIL has been using our card on her phone, and that too, she spent around 17 Kelvin. We were quite shocked and called her up and asked why the hell she's been using our card. She got very defensive, tried to deny it and eventually said she was entitled to it. And why do we care since we haven't noticed her use for over 4 months? We told her she needed to pay us back immediately or we'd report her actions for theft. She apparently doesn't have the money to pay us back. We've gone to our son and he's offered to pay us back even though he actually cannot afford to. This isn't about the money for us, but more about the fact that she's stolen a huge amount of money. While we are comfortable and it took us time to notice, we still recognize the seriousness of stealing $17,000. Our son has completely dismissed her behavior and excused it as her being stressed. She's taken no responsibility, and we're honestly wanting to go forward with the police report to teach her consequences to her actions. Would we be the idiot for doing this? Comments before the update. Not the idiot. I work in law enforcement. If you report this to the police, they will take a report and forward charges to the DA. Usually then the credit card cancels the debit portion as fraudulent. If you just chose to sue her civilly, you will still be liable for the debt, and even if you get a judgment, she may not pay it. I wouldn't give her any special pass to avoid criminal charges. Not the idiot. 17,000 in theft is 17,000 in theft. Inexcusable behavior on her part. Don't sue, just report her to the cops. Now for the update. We were utterly and completely shocked with our son's nonchalant way of handling this, and at a loss. We desperately wanted to fight for our son, but since the initial confrontation he had been avoiding us. We decided we would take the advice and call the police to press charges. However, we wanted to let our son know before doing so. Husband and I decided to show up at his office since he had been ignoring our calls and texts. I know this might sound like a boundary crossing to some, but we desperately wanted to talk to our son. Initially he got angry and asked us to leave, but he calmed down and agreed to hear us out. We told him our side of the story, and to say the least, he was shocked. He apologized profusely, cried a little and begged for forgiveness. He told us he was blinded by love, working 14 hours a day and under the impression we had given his GF the money. His girlfriend had apparently told him that we wanted to spoil her as our future DIL, and that we gave her carte blanche to buy herself nice things as a way to welcome her to the family. And that we'd since changed our minds on spoiling her and now wanted all the money back, knowing she can't afford it. She had told him we did that as a manipulative way to force her out of his life, to try and control him. He was also under the impression she'd spent maybe 3 to 5 Kelvin and not 17 Kelvin. He was livid and was actually the one who in the end convinced us to pursue legal action. He actually helped us call the police right then and there at his office after our talk. We then went with him home and helped him pack up all her stuff before she came home. She wasn't on the lease, living rent-free, so kicking her out was no issue. We offered to stay with him for the blow-up, but he wanted to handle it on his own. From what he's told me, she didn't take this lightly. So our son's ex has now been pressed with charges and we're awaiting further information. Like some of you pointed out, it's a sufficient amount and she's been pressed with criminal charges. Our bank has also been informed and we're told we'll likely get our money back. She blew up on the entire family, but no one but our other DIL is taking her side. Other DIL is a whole story, for another time perhaps, but we are now glad to officially announce that we are thief-free in the family. We appreciate all your feedback, advice and engagement. Definitely, not the idiot, and I sincerely hope you're able to recover that money. She is appalling. I know of someone who served 5 years in prison for using $550 on a credit card that was not theirs. DIL might, rightly, be facing some serious consequences. I am shocked she spent so goddamn much. I don't condone stealing on any level, but that is an unfathomable amount on her part. Absolutely disgusting. Would you have called the police? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for not going to my parents' wedding before they get divorced again? So my female 26 parents, both 50, got married when I was 5 and I was the flower girl. Around when I was 10 they got divorced, which no one saw coming because they never fought. I feel like I have to mention my parents are both very wealthy and kept finances separate, and so it was an easy divorce and obviously they could pay for it. When I was about 17ish they decided to get back together. Me being 17, was overjoyed and was a bridesmaid at their second wedding. I really hope you see where this is going, but they ended up separating again. They didn't tell anyone and didn't get a divorce, but we all knew they were separated, and 3 years later they wanted to renew their vows, in which I was asked to buy a nice dress for the occasion. Surprise, they got divorced. Again. And only 3 months after their renewal. After that I sort of just lived my own life because I wasn't exactly thrilled at whatever they were doing and honestly really over it. So a few days ago I got an invite in the mail to my parents' 3 divided by 4th wedding after 6 years, and so I called my mom about it. She was super excited and told me I was old enough to be her MOH and that she wants me to buy a 15-0 dress. That's a solid no from me. I told her I'd be her MOH, but I'm either going to wear the original bridesmaid dress, which is a cream color, or the other nice one I got, which is brown, because I'm not buying a $15 dress. She freaked out and told me that those don't match the color scheme, pink and green, and that she knows I can afford it. Which is true. I got an inheritance from my grandfather's passing. However, when my fiancé and I moved in together, he made it clear he didn't want me to be paying for most things and he wanted to do it 50/50. So we got a small apartment that he could afford to pay his share of, and all of my extra money is in savings, college fund, because we want a large family of 5-7 kids. And they are, well, expensive. So I reminded my mom of that and told her that I also would like to use my money on other things that won't be worn once, and I'll have to buy a new one every 3-6 years. My mom called me a spoiled brat and that I'm wasting my privilege. I have no words, and that I'm telling her I won't be a part of my own parents' wedding. I told her that I was going to be willing to show up to the wedding and not be the MOH, but at this point I'm not showing up at all and told her to call me when they get their next divorce. I hung up and got a slew of nasty emails from my family throughout the day, and my friends are divided on if I made the right call with the premise that they are my parents. Am I the idiot? Comments before the update. Not the idiot. If they're both well off, why can't they just buy the dress for you? It's their 50th wedding and she wants you as the maid of honor, so it makes sense for her to just get the dress for you. Not the idiot. I'm sorry, but once it's the third to fourth time to the same person, it's no longer a special event or moment. That's just a massive display of stupidity. It's totally reasonable that, if they are doing this every 5 years or so, to say that either they really should not be together, or that they really want the attention. Though, to me this situation reads as two people who are not compatible but can't stand not having someone to give them attention. Now for the update. A lot of people suggested just making my mom pay for the dress, but I was debating the suggestion of just being a guest. Though a lot of you agreed with me to just not show up, I ended up calling my mom and was going to make a decision however it went. She started off the conversation that she didn't need me to be a part of the wedding party because her and my dad were having trouble having the best people. Aka, no one will do it again lol. So they were going to scratch that part of the wedding and it was all about them anyway, so I told them I was coming as a guest, and after I made plans with my cousin to give me a lift so I wasn't spending a single cent on going to their wedding. Now my fiance and I go over to their house for dinner once a month, so we went over there Saturday. As I mentioned before in a comment or two, my fiance grew up financially insecure, and so I struggle with convincing him to do something nice for himself once in a while. I did however just convince him to spend part of our savings to do a really nice honeymoon in Greece since we are doing a small wedding. It took some pulling of teeth, but he now won't stop getting travel books and researching, and it makes me so happy to see him excited about this. It was a fairly pleasant dinner until my own wedding planning came up. I told them that we were pretty much set with the wedding, but we were having our details on Greece. My mom got visibly upset and excused herself, and my dad followed. I was pretty confused, but they came back and my dad calmly explained that my mom feels very hurt that I'd be willing to spend thousands of dollars on my honeymoon but wouldn't shell out money for their wedding. I was pretty dumbfounded and said, well, we are willing to have an expense on the honeymoon because we are only getting married once, so yeah, I got kicked out of the house and uninvited from the wedding. Not super torn up about it, and this is now my fiance's favorite story to tell. Not the idiot. I seriously can't believe your mom is trying to overshadow your wedding with her fourth wedding, not even waiting for you to have your moment. Not the idiot. Sounds like the best outcome honestly, and I am still laughing about your mother being shocked that no one wants to give her the full treatment for her fifth or whatever wedding. I have an aunt who's been married something like 8 times, and the last 2 she just did a quick stand-up wedding in a garden type thing. Because it turns out that no one wants to shell out money or buy presents for your 5th wedding to yet another loser. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed having comments before and after the updates. Thanks for watching and have a great day.